Hello and welcome to the first episode of Welcome to the Bone Era. This episode is actually going to be a sort of session zero to fill everybody in on what happened before we started releasing full D&D sessions. My name is Cameron Evesque Davis, the DM for Welcome to the Bone Era, and I hope you enjoy this little bit of a recap of me basically explaining what happened. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. On pre-podcast episodes of Welcome to the Bone Era, we met our adventurers in the town of Esterosi, on the northernmost island of the archipelago of Venevra, called Oster. As we started the campaign, two of the adventurers, the high elven rogue named Shar, and the human cleric named Curin de Wounded, yes, that's the name Sarah went with, had been on a mission to locate and dispatch some orcs which had been attacking travelers between the northern coastal town of Verity and Esterosi itself. These orcs had been followed before, but have completely vanished from what the other adventurers could tell every time anybody got close. Grigax Roman, the head of the Adventurers Guild in the city, decides to put more adventurers on the case. Enter Wynn, the half-elven, dual scimitar-wielding fighter, Kimbatul Nala, the golden dragonborn sorcerer, and Lilia, the fallen Aasimar bard. They all get together at a pub, classic, and go out in search of the orcs. After some tracking, they discover that these orcs have made their base invisible using a magical yellow stone attached to a bunch of additional crystals. They dispatch the orcs and head back into town with the stone in their pack. The group decides to stick together, having made a good amount of money. They purchase some items from a general store, including an Orcish to English phrase book by a Nathaniel Stein and a mysterious treasure map which seems to have some magical essence to it. They pick up a quest to find a woman named Marie Sindar's missing daughter in the capital city of Arkala to the south and head that direction. While traveling south from Esterosi to the port town of Port Hull, they stumble upon a dead forest, which seems to not belong. They look behind themselves and find that the path they had been on is completely gone, so they move forward, finding an ancient mansion in the center of the woods. A mysterious voice taunts them as they move forward, and after fighting some fungal creatures at the front of the house, they enter what they discover is called the Arloso family home. After some exploration, they discover the history of this home through the journal of the daughter of the family, Lorella Arloso. She explains that some 10,000 years ago, a god called Morlos got angry that he lost worshippers, and that people were devoted to other gods, and sent out legions of monsters to kill and destroy. He also ripped the land of Venevra into the 4 islands it is today. The party hears the mysterious creepy voice again and head into the basement. There they discover some very ancient wine, some of which they commandeer, and head deeper into a cave under the house. They find a hag and some ghouls, kill them, and go back upstairs. When they get back upstairs, they see that the forest has begun coming back to life. A light shines from the study, where they locate a crystal ball. On request by a voice only Lilia hears, she puts her hand on the crystal ball, and they feel the house move. They exit the house and find that they can now leave the forest, and that they have made it within half a day of Port Hull, even though it should have taken them another 2 days to get there. The party makes their way into Port Hull, where they spend the night, and hear some rumors about pirates in Vintris Channel, the pass of water between the islands of Oster and Infar. The next day, they hire the services of the ship the Deepwater, captained by Ernesto Strada, a dashing middle-aged sailor. On the trip, they are attacked by pirates, who the adventurers dispatch quickly. During the battle, Wynn recognizes the pirate captain from Wynn's time growing up in the Penchard Archipelago, a dangerous area known for being basically run by pirates. In searching the ship, Wynn discovers a letter which commanded the pirate captain to attack ships in the Vintris Channel, written by the pirate queen Abby, who happens to be Wynn's sister. After the battle, Curin and the captain hook up. This is important information to be included in this recap. Curin has a dream that night, showing the day his family died in a fire. He doesn't remember much of what happened, and this dream seems to give him a little more memory of the incident. His god, Weejas, speaks to him and tells him to go back to the town where this happened, Scorch Pass, when he's ready. The party arrives in Arkala, the capital city of the Kingdom of Distori, where they discover that there's a parade. They watch it and see the king, Salvador Distori, on a massive float and flanked by his left and right-hand people. Behind the float are being dragged 4 prisoners, an older woman, 2 young men, and a small boy. The party follows the parade to the central square of the town, where they listen to a speech by Xyler Tadaro, the leader of the Venatoris Laici, the Treason Hunters, who says that even speaking out against the king and his regime is punishable by death here. They watch as the prisoners are brought forward one by one, and Salvador himself executes them with his greatsword, including the child. After this horrific sight, they are run into by one Vidar Incara, the owner and operator of the enchanted items shop in Esterosi, the Darkened Sun, whom they'd met before. They follow him as he leads them to another enchanted item shop called the Bright Light here in Arcala. There, Vidar and Nigel Dennis, the owner of this shop, explain that they are part of an organization called Resistenza, which aims to resist the king's rule and sabotage his war against the southern kingdom of Handere, hopefully with the eventual goal to oust the king entirely. Vidar continues and explains that their leader, Johanna Vinthris, was captured while on an undercover mission, and they mean to rescue her, but do not know which of the two main prisons she's being kept in. He says the only way to discover where she's located is to break into Xyler Tadaro's house, break into his office, and find the information there. He asks the party to do this for Resistenza, for the good of the country, and for a fee, as Resistenza is pretty short-handed at the moment. The group agrees to help after they handle the current quest they're on. They also learn the secret few phrases to find out whether whomever they meet is part of Resistenza, and that goes like this. Person A says, "I like your shirt, where did you get it?" Person B, if they're part of Resistenza, responds with, "I got it from walking the path." And person A should reply with, "As did I." The party then finds Maria Sindar, the mother of the missing child. After speaking with Maria a bit, it turns out that the guards gave up on this mission due to some strange circumstances. Basically, the teacher at Mari's daughter's school insists that Maria Sindar does not have a child. The party checks out her daughter's room anyway and discovers a rug with runes on the ground. They touch it and it explodes, but reveals a hole which drops 10 feet down into the sewers. The party heads down into the sewers and finds the girl, huddled in a corner. Kimbatul Nala walks close to the girl, attempting to comfort her, and suddenly the girl takes control of Nala's mind and shifts into a monstrous being with long claws and massive, bizarre eyes. There's a battle, and they dispatch this creature. Kuren knows what this monster is and tells the party that it's an Orfling, a creature which places false memories in the minds of people, and pretends to be a child while feeding off the quote-unquote parent. They discover a couple of bottles of the Orfling's refined life essence, which they keep. They head back up to Marie Sindar and explain the situation. Marie's memory now feels false, and she decides to take a vacation to Oster just to get away from the strangeness of these weird false memories. After receiving their reward from the Arcala branch of the Adventurers Guild, the party grabs 2 quest writs from the board. One is to gather a flower known as the Moonflower from the Nuvale Mountains, a flower which can be used as a base in antidotes and poisons. The other quest is from the town of Myrefall, also in the mountains, which talks of people going missing and attacks by wolves which are larger than normal. The party finds a room at an inn in the theater district of the city and meet a tiefling bard named Veneer, who tells them about a theater company he performs with, the Silver Falcon Theater Company. He turns out to also be a member of Resistenza. The next day, Lilia visits the theater company and is invited to see the world premiere of their play What We've Wrought that evening. She also performs her music in the square and specifically asks Morlos to speak with her during her performance as part of the song. The party goes and sees the play. Soon into the performance, it becomes clear that this play is showing that the king's choice to go immediately to war with Handere was awful, and soon it's busted up by members of Venatoris Laici. They burst in and light the playhouse on fire, saying to either kill or arrest all the members of the theater company. Many civilians are arrested as well, and some perish in the fire. The party springs into action to try and help the members of the theater company, but the hunters prove too many and too strong, and they are forced to flee. Veneer et al. Guide the party through a secret underground tunnel, which leads to a safe house of Resistenza underneath the mostly run-down and terrible-looking inn called the Ruined Horseshoe. They are told they can use this safe house as a base for their next mission to rob the leader of Venatoris Laici. While in this safe house, Nala receives a letter from her father, telling her that eventually she will want to head to the city of Omniasari, far to the east and through the desert, to meet with someone to further her journey. During the night, Lilia feels drawn to that stone they found on their first adventure, which shines with a bright light, Upon touching it, she is immediately racked with pain and hears the voice of Morlos saying he knows who she is now, and how dare she, a follower of Yaren, one of the gods who locked Morlos away, speak to him. Out of the stone comes a dark version of a celestial deva, which the party dispatches handily. After some recon and information gathering, the party carries out their heist, using Nala to launch a distraction in the form of 2 fireballs inside the Venator's Laisai base. Lilia disguises herself as one of the hunters and convinces the guards at Xylar Tadaro's house, minus the guard at the front door, to head over to help the rest of the hunters, saying she'll keep watch for them. Meanwhile, the rest of the party sneaks in the back. Using some clever dispel magic spells and a silent spell, the party is able to gather that Johanna is locked in the castle prison. They also discover an invitation for Xylar Tadaro to a political summit happening in a month and a half. Some shenanigans occur, during which multiple members of the party are nearly arrested, but they manage to get away with the information they were hoping for. Vidar and Nigel offer the party a haversack for their efforts, and then request that the party also follow through on rescuing Johanna from prison. The party suggests they have a brainstorming meeting with the rest of the members of Resistenza prior to the prison break, and Vidar agrees. The next day, Lilia visits the Temple of Yaren and finds that the stone they have is one of the stones of Morlos, which were both tied directly to him and used to lock him away. That afternoon, the meeting happens, where the party meet many other members of Resistenza. They figure out a basic plan for springing Johanna, and discover that the reason Vidar needs them to do it is because they certainly are short-handed. Each other member, minus a pair of Eladrin twins who agree to help look out, has another assignment. They do some recon on the castle prison the next day, and then that evening start their prison break. They enter via the back, climbing up a massive piece of metal that seems to be helping hold the actual cliff face up, nearly losing Lilia to a fall before heading into a grate on the outside of the castle. They soon are faced with many puzzles before finally coming face to face with the prison guardian, who asks them what their reason for entering the prison is. They tell the guardian that they are rescuing a person who doesn't deserve to be in prison. The guardian says their quest is noble, but that they must fight him to be allowed to pass. They defeat the prison guardian and move on, heeding his warning not to go below floor 2. The party passes through the challenging maze that is this magical prison and eventually locate Johanna Vinthris. They make their way past the guards, bluffing and casting spells to make it out, and eventually manage to fully rescue the young leader of Resistenza. Johanna calls a meeting of the group immediately when they arrive back at the safe house. She says that she uncovered a plot by King Salvador to assassinate the only other 2 people who have a claim to his throne, his sister Sabrina and his uncle Amore, at a political summit which is occurring in a month and a half. The party mentions they have an invitation to that, which should come in handy. Johanna says that they will contact the party when a more solid plan is created, but that they should carry on with whatever other missions they have for the time being. After that, they all party, during which many conversations are had, Johanna plays some music and sings a song, and Lilia and Johanna hook up. The next morning, Johanna pays the group for their help, stating that she has quite a bit of money due to her being from a noble family. She then says that she just heard that the garrison currently in the city is being sent south to make for the first major offensive by the Destori military, attempting to take the town of Tinpala on the border. She then leaves, and the party gets ready to head to the New Vale Mountains, aiming to do the 2 quests they picked up from the Adventurers Guild. After nearly being arrested at the gate, members of the party being wanted criminals now for being involved with the Silver Falcon Theater Company, and not being able to magically disguise themselves, they barely manage to make it out and head towards the mountains. On the way, they are attacked by a wyvern and 2 riders. Once defeated, Nala gave the wyvern a proper send-off, feeling for her dragon kin. The party continues moving and eventually ends up running into a strange, foggy, cold area and are attacked by creatures from the Shadowfell. After a harrowing battle during which multiple people are knocked unconscious, the Bone Era successfully defeats the monsters. They head back into a gap in the mountain, which seems to be where the monsters and mysterious fog is coming from, and find a portal to the Shadowfell. Said portal is being created by another Stone of Morlos, which seems to be using the life forces of 6 unfortunate people to hold the portal open. These corpses are shrunk down completely, even the items they were carrying having smashed themselves into what's left of their bodies, and a mystical bond keeps them connected to the portal. Wynn tries to grab the stone, but it hurts him to try. He eventually figures out he can sever the mystical bonds between the bodies in the portal, and the portal closes. After closing the portal, they set up camp in the gap between the mountains and go to sleep. So that's what's happened on the first 10 sessions of our game, now titled Welcome to the Bone Era. We'll explain the title soon, I'm sure. Where will our adventure take them next? Well, we'll just have to find out together.